All right, Derbyites, we are just a couple of days away from the Tony Awards. I'm Paul Sheehan, executive editor of Gold Derby. I don't really know a lot about the Tony Awards. I fake it quite well. The two people who do know about the Tony Awards are David Buchanan and Sam Eckmann. And we talked before the Tony nominations came out, and they gave me lots of good advice, which they probably rue because I think I did a little tiny bit better than them. But anyway, now we're going to talk about who's going to win the Tony Awards. So I'm going to steal their predictions, and I think you should as well. So I think the first thing we're going to do is talk about the musical categories, the top musical categories. We're going to do another one of these on plays, and we're going to do another one of these on the real make or break categories, the creative categories. That the Tonys don't put on air, they sort of stream them, but we think those are the ones that kind of can make or break whether you win our Tony predictions contest. So David, let's start with Best Musical. So,
We'll start with a softball, right? We'll
Hamilton, I guess. I mean, Hamilton is the Hillary Clinton of the Tony Awards. The presumptive winner. So, is there any hope of something else getting the superdelegates? I mean, is it?
No, in a year without Hamilton, I would say Shuffle Along had a really good chance of winning Best Musical. It's probably number 2. It had the second most nominations of the year, but it's not even worth talking about, at least in this category.
So, but we were talking before we started this about in the alternate universe. So, of the other nominees, what would you think would win, but for Hamilton? So, Shuffle Along, is that?
Yeah, I think maybe not definitely, but I think of the other nominees in the category. That had the most support, and it's important. It's an important and really great show. So yeah, I would put that as the winner.
What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think the historical importance of Shuffle Along, plus the all-star cast and George C. Wolfe and Savion Glover, it's filled with people everyone loves. So I think that would be the winner. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a slam dunk probably, but. Sadly, it'll lose to Hamilton this go around.
And what about I keep hearing lots of wonderful things about Waitress. Like it's making a ton of money. So I guess if we shift away from what's going to win Best Musical, once we start talking about some of the other categories, I think we may hear a word other than Hamilton. So what about in musical revival? What I think that race is sort of in flux, or not? Am I wrong, Sam? I'm wrong a lot, so I'm probably wrong on this. Do you think musical revival?
I think that's. I know. I think I froze. Can we hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I think you're back.
Okay. So I think it's really close between Color Purple and She Loves Me. I think I originally had She Loves Me down because it had such a broad support across directing and acting and orchestrations and design, but I think actually Heather Headley might win it for Color Purple. She's giving them a lot more added press now that she has replaced Jennifer Hudson.
Oh, how interesting. Yeah, just in these last few weeks, because I think voting goes up until close to the Sunday night. What about you? Because I'm predicting She Loves Me right now, David.
I agree with you, Paul. It's a lot tighter a race than I thought it was going to be when the nominations were announced. I've always had Color Purple in first. I do think it's going to win just because it's an entire reinvention of the original production. The She Loves Me, although it's gotten rave reviews, had a lot of support in the nominations, is very similar to an earlier revival. So I think Color Purple, just for reinventing itself and really stripping out a lot of the superfluous elements and going down to the bare bones of the show, will win. But it could be She Loves Me too. I think She Loves Me just won the Drama Desk on Sunday. It beat Color Purple. So it might be a closer race than we originally thought, but I still have Color Purple winning the category.
And it's interesting. I'm not a fan of the Drama Desk because they were created to honor off-Broadway, in the 50s, and they kind of veered away from that. And even though they nominate a ton of off-Broadway stuff, it tends to be the Broadway shows that win.
Yeah.
But I think that when you have that, when you've got the win at the Drama Desk, and if you've done well at Outer Critics and the Drama League, and it does sort of become this self-fulfilling prophecy. The Tony voters want to be on those bandwagons. So I think those precursors are important in that sense. But it's going to be tight. Sam, do you know, I haven't been paying as much attention as I should. Do you know, are both shows going to be performing on the Tony Awards?
I don't think they've released the performances yet, but I would assume both of them are going to perform.
Oh, good. Okay, because I was thinking I don't know, but that now you've just given me the reason I don't know is because...
I mean, they're still open, so I don't see why they wouldn't get a performance on there. It's the biggest advertising night of the year for Broadway.
Right. And it's at the Beacon Theater this year, which is a smaller space, so that's probably the logistics of all that. It won't be those lavish numbers that we're used to seeing at Radio City. So back to talking about Hamilton, maybe or maybe not. We're going to talk about Best Actor in a Musical. So, David, turn to you. Do you think one of the two Hamilton men is going to win this?
This is the one category where, out of all 24, where it's my head versus my heart decision, truthfully. So, I am willing Danny Burstein to win. He's built some momentum this award season. He won the Outer Critics Award and the Drama Desk, albeit he was not competing against the Hamilton men at either of those two awards, because they've been honored when it ran at the public off Broadway. So does that mean anything? Not necessarily. I do think it's going to come down to either Danny or Leslie Odom Jr., and that'll be, for me, like just a choice, like the day before, just pick one and go with it. Because I do think, whereas early on I was just praying Danny would win, I think there's some momentum there with him being overdue, biggest role of his career. I don't know if it's enough to overcome Leslie Odom Jr. So,
Sam, we talked about this, I think, around the nominations. So this is what I think Danny Burstein's 6th nomination without a win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, number 6, just like Kelly O'Hara.
And David, I was smiling because you said head versus heart. So last year, I still wanted Kelly O'Hara to win, but I went with my head and said Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah, we all did. I think all three of us did.
What about you, Sam, this year? Who are you touting at this moment?
I have Leslie Odom Jr. winning. I think just because of the room where it happens, he has the most incredible song in Hamilton, and they're going to reward Lin-Manuel Miranda in other categories. And I could be wrong, but I think Leslie Odom Jr. is the guy to beat right now, unfortunately for Danny.
Yeah, boy, that's going to be tough. It's going to be interesting. I remember 2 years ago when Kelly O'Hara was nominated for Bridges in Madison County, which was so wonderful. I mean, such a wonderful, wonderful production. And remember Hugh Jackman went out in the audience and did a little bit with each one of those nominees? Well, he needed to get a bus to get up to where she was sitting in the audience. So much further back than everyone else. And I thought, she ain't winning. So we'll have to see, where are they all sitting on Sunday night? So, what now? That Kelly's category from last year, Best Actress in a Musical. I know the woman from Hamilton's nominated. Do either of you expect her to win, Philippa Sue?
No.
No, I think Cynthia Erivo got this Tony from the first moment she stepped out at the first preview of Color Purple. And it's a really stacked category. Like every one of these women, I think, could win in a different year, but
yeah, absolutely.
She's just got all the buzz. She has the most incredible number I maybe have ever seen on a Broadway stage. She gets a standing ovation in the middle of the show. She's gonna win.
And just so to prove that, I mean, when I met up with these fellows before nominations, Sam said to me, Paul, you don't even have Cynthia being nominated, and she's going to win. So I listened to him then, and well, should I be listening to him now, David? What about you? Do you think?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's one of the locks of the year, which is so surprising to me because, as Sam said, the category is so incredibly stacked with such wonderful performances that if these roles and these women were nominated in any other year, they could walk away with the award, but not against Cynthia this year. She has the momentum, she has the buzz, and she has the performance to back it up.
What when you saw it, Sam, Jennifer Hudson, I'm curious. Like, how did she fit into the production? Did she take you out of it? Was she giving a real performance? I'm curious about Jennifer Hudson in the show.
I didn't see it with Jennifer Hudson. I saw it with Heather Headley.
Oh.
And Heather Headley is perfection, so I can't comment on Jennifer Hudson's performance, but the whole show works really, really well with the cast that they have.
Oh, okay. I wondered if that role took the focus away from Celie at all.
I think Shug, the role that Jennifer Hudson and now Heather Headley has, it's a very featured role. It's a prominent role, but I don't think it's enough to steal the spotlight. Like Celie, Cynthia Erivo is the definite lead. It's a true lead character.
David, did you see Jennifer Hudson?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I was supposed to see it a few weeks ago and had a snafu, so I haven't seen it yet. I will see it, and I'm excited to see it with Heather. I've loved her since her Tony-winning role in Aida, so I'm really excited to see her. And actually, this is kind of tangential, but had she originated the role, I think she would be Tony nominated again right now. I haven't seen it, but from what I'm hearing, and Sam, can you back that up?
She had me crying on the first lyric to a song. So, she just started a very simple lyric, and I burst into tears. She's an incredible performer. So I would give her a nomination.
Yeah.
And sorry, this is where I show my age, in that moments before we started this, David talked about the fact that the traffic kept him from seeing Color Purple. Listen, if it won Julianne Moore an Oscar, I don't mind being a little still Alice. Let's see, do I remember? Yes, featured categories. So, Sam, featured actor in a musical. I know there's lots of fellows from Hamilton. Is one of them going to win?
Yeah, I think Daveed Diggs has this pretty much locked in. Some people are saying Boat Splitting could maybe get like Christopher Fitzgerald as a winner, and he does have a really big number in Waitress, but I don't think there's Boat Splitting in this case. I think everyone is focused on Daveed Diggs.
And why is that? Why there's 3 of them nominated? What is it that makes him stand out?
He plays dual characters, and he's kind of like the MC of the evening, and his part is almost entirely rap. And it's incredibly fast-paced. It's really, he's a big talking point of the show, and I think it's the same thing where we've had like the year with 12th Night, and they had 3 actors there, but everyone was clearly going towards Mark Rylance.
Oh, okay. And then on featured actress, is that again Renee Goldsberry? You think it'll be Renee Goldsberry from Hamilton to win that, David?
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's a lock in that category, and I agree with Sam on featured actor. Daveed Diggs is really likely to win as well. I think it's going to be those 2.
So it's kind of, so far, it seems, other than Revival and lead actor, things look like they're locked. So now I assume the director of a musical, is it going to be the director of Hamilton? Sam?
Yeah, I don't see how he could lose that one. Excuse me. It would be something way out of left field for him to lose for directing the biggest show in generations.
And he's working in television too. I think he directed Grease Live, which was quite the achievement. And I assume, David, you're nodding that you're sort of in agreement on that.
Yeah, I can't see him lose, but I'd just like to say, again, just like we said with actress, that category is so impressive, especially looking at the list of people who didn't get a nomination. Like, you could fill almost a whole nother 5 nominations with directors worthy of a slot. So he's going to win in a really competitive year, but I do think he'll win. Yeah, absolutely.
And what is so interesting is the cyclical nature of Broadway. I mean, it applies to we're in this golden age of television. But what's so interesting is if you sort of go back, you know, in the 90s, I mean, I think there was one year they didn't give out an award. There was one year there were only 2 nominees. I mean, people were writing off original musicals on Broadway. It was all dead. I mean, and now you're talking about the rich category with, you know, the expanded field at the top, or in this case, director. And I mean, it's just so fascinating. I mean, because we'll talk in our next chat about plays where kind of sparse when it came to new works on Broadway. I think the revivals are where sort of a lot of the interesting stuff was happening. All right, so it seems like it's Hamilton, 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 except maybe Danny Burstein, and then over in the actress where they have, you know, the woman from Hamilton. She kind of got swept along. That she'll get a nice dress out of it, and a good seat at the Beacon, right? So, all right, we'll talk about plays next. Thanks, guys.